Welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Someone Six Sports. Today, my special guest is Ben from the Buffalo Sports Banter on the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network. And we will be talking Bills and Jets to get ready for the Monday Night Football matchup. Will Aaron Rodgers make a difference for the New York Jets this season?
I think so. I mean, when you go from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers, it's a little bit different, right? You got a potential Hall of Famer, should be Hall of Famer, and Aaron Rodgers, and you got Zach Wilson, who hasn't been the best in New York. He's struggled here and there, so I think it will. They got a good defense, so I think as long as they get even average play from Aaron Rodgers, they'll be a good team, right? I mean, he's a little bit older. He's, I believe, close to 40, if not 40 already, but he's getting close to 40. So I think he'll make a difference. I don't think he'll make a difference as if he was in his early 30s, if he was in his prime, but he's still a great quarterback. I don't know if I think he's on Josh Allen's level still, but he's still a great quarterback. He knows what he's doing. He's been in the league a long time. I mean, I think he's been in the league almost my whole life. I don't know about you, Robbie. Probably close to about your whole life too. But he's been in the league for a long time, and I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he's gonna be a huge difference maker that can make the Jets a huge contender, or you think he's kind of starting to lose it with his age?
Um, I think he's like I think he would make a difference this year, but like in the upcoming years, he might decline a little bit, and with his age and the players around him.
Yeah, I think that like I said, he's almost 40, right? It's old for a quarterback. So I agree with you there. I think at least this year, in future years, we'll see, right? We'll see how he does. So I agree with you on that one. I think you hit it right on the nail there. We're saying his age is going to catch up to him eventually.
Do you see the Bills O line holding up for Josh Allen?
Um, I think that's a tougher question. I mean, I think it will be better than last year. With what they've done, with the upgrades they've done, a little bit healthier. Do I think they'll hold up? That's the tougher part, though. I don't know. I think they'll have their ups and downs. I think they'll have some games where they look amazing, and some games where Josh might be running a lot more and having to use his legs more than maybe me or you would like as somebody who watches the team and looks at what they do. So I don't think they'll be horrible, but I don't think they'll be an amazing offensive line. Where do you see them? Do you think that they'll be a top offensive line, or do you think they'll have their struggles?
I I could see them having a little bit of like injury trouble because like Mitch Morris is older and he's had a few concussions and
Yeah. Have you looked like at all? Where do you think? What do you think of the rookie starting Osiris Torrance?
I've I've watched him during the preseason and I liked what I saw from him.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully he looks like one of a good Brandon Bean pick that we're hoping for. I think that you know, he's somebody a lot of guys wanted. I mean, I was a fan of him. And hopefully he can be, an offensive lineman protecting Josh for the next however long Josh is in Buffalo.
Like, what do you see in the running back room for the Bills this season?
That one's actually, I think that's an interesting group to look at. I think obviously James Cook, he'll have a bigger role than last year. I'm excited to see him. I think he can bring, something to the table that we haven't had or gotten from, Devin Singletary or Zach Moss. So I think he can bring that juice that, they didn't necessarily. I mean, not saying that, Devin Singletary didn't have, that juice. He can make some great cuts and everything, but I think you'll see an upgrade. And when you got Damian Harris, who I really like every time he's played Buffalo. It's not been fun being a Bills follower and Bills fan playing against Damian Harris when he was in New England. He's had some great games against Buffalo, so it's good to now have him on the other side of the ball, on our side of the ball this time. So I think it'll be a good one. And then you got Latavius Murray, who's been in the league a while. He's kind of like the Aaron. I mean, I don't want to say the Aaron Rodgers of the running backs, but when it comes to the age, he's one of the older running backs in the league. So he's had the experience, and I think it's better than last year's. Just wish Naheem Hines didn't get hurt, or else it'd be even better. But I like the running back room this year.
Will the Bills defensive line be good this season?
Um, I think so. I think they could maybe start off a little bit slower. They're a younger unit, right? They got Greg Rousseau is pretty young still. I mean, Epinesa is still pretty young. Even Ed Oliver's still kind of young. But then you got Von Miller, who's hopefully gonna, return to form once he comes back from injury and fully is back on the football field. But I like the pieces. I like a lot of the guys they got there. Jordan Phillips is back. He's a guy, he loves getting the crowd pumped. He loves making those big plays and getting Bills Mafia rolling in the stadium. And you got even like Shaq Lawson, who's another guy that I've always loved, even ever since he got drafted. He's had his ups and downs in Buffalo, and I think it's going to be a good year for them. I think you'll see some steps taken and some improvement from guys like Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa or Ed Oliver. He's not Ed Oliver just signed that big contract, so he's got a lot to live up to. So I think the defensive line will be pretty solid this year. I don't know if they'll be a top five defensive line in the league, but I think they'll be in the upper half of the league. So I'm excited to see them. What do you think of them? Do you have a favorite player from the defensive line that you really like?
On defense, um, it was the middle linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, but he went to the Bears.
Yeah.
Um, but now my favorite player is Damar Hamlin. Um,
Yeah, DeMar, I mean, he's got a great story, right? Probably gonna win comeback player of the year. Um, he should, in my opinion, even if he doesn't play a lot. So as soon as he steps foot on that football field, I think he's automatically should win it. I mean, we both know what everybody knows what happened with him, and just seeing him be able to come back and the way that he's done it, and it's inspiring. So yeah, that's a good player. It's a solid player to have as your favorite, right? So it's like strong, you know, player who just puts in the work and never backs down from anything. So yeah, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him. Do you think he's got some nerves going into week one? I know he's played in the preseason, but do you think he's got some nerves after what happened?
I I liked him like when Buffalo drafted him because he played for Pitt and like I think he was a good defensive guy for um what McDermott and Bean um have planned for the defense.
Yeah, I mean McDermott, he knows how to use everybody on defense, especially if you're a defensive back, right? There's a very rare amount of defensive backs that don't succeed under Sean McDermott. And if you got even a little bit of skill, like a guy like, DeMar or Jordan Poyer or anything, they're gonna tap into the potential, and they're gonna make you into a great player. So yeah, I'm excited to see him. I wasn't like you though, where I knew him I didn't know him out of the draft too much. So you had probably a little bit of a head start on me knowing him, being excited for him out of the draft. But a lot of people know about him now. A lot of people know his story, and I'm excited to see what his story ends up like.
Yeah. And like when he had his cardiac arrest, I was actually watching the game and um I saw his tackle.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you were like me, where I was when I was watching the game too. I kind of just froze for a while and didn't really know what to do because it was a scary situation. But we're glad it turned out the way it did, and he made it through and is still able. We're now able to watch him play football in what, about a week and a half ish, little week and a half ish. So yeah, it's something that I think we're all lucky to be able to see him go back out in the football field again. And it was a scary night. I remember that whole night, that whole week. It was a scary night, but definitely inspirational though to see him do what he's doing now.
Yeah. Like I like DeMar because he goes after the runner legs where most of the players they go like up around the hips where they don't get the leverage to stop the guy from running from them.
Yeah, do you think part of that has to do with, he's not like he's not like a Greg Rousseau, where Greg Rousseau is so big, right? Greg Rousseau might not have to go that high. He's, a little bit bigger. Do you think that has to play into a factor with DeMar Hamlin, that he's kind of a shorter, where he helps him to get low and get after the knees?
Yeah. And then like Micah Hyde and Hoyer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing that he's probably learned from them. Learn to get low on them, take out their legs so they can't, it's hard to run when your legs are getting hit. So I think that's one thing that Poyer and Hyde, you're starting to see with them, teach it to a lot of these guys, right? That's just get low, and if you take their legs out, they're not gonna be running much longer. 'Cause, it's pretty hard to, when your legs are held up by a defensive player, it's pretty hard to move.
Um, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, what really got you into football and into the Bills? Do you have one thing that kind of growing up, just whether it was you were just watching a game, or what really just made you fall in love with the Bills?
Like back in the 90s or so, like they had Doug Flutie, um, Rob Johnson, and then like when when I was born, like Jim Kelly was finishing up his career. Um, and then like watching one Bills live, Steve Tasker. Um, I like I liked him
Yeah.
like as a commentator on CBS or um and and I like this one guy, Andrew Catalan from CBS. So like the announcers really um kind of got me into like watching the games and um like when I would listen to it on the radio, I would listen to Murphy, Sal Capaccio,
Oh,
um Eric Wood.
yeah. It
So
that can really, that's for me too. That's a lot of it, I think, with a lot of people is, if the announcers are excited and the announcers are getting into it, it really helps you fall in love with the sport, right? I mean, Andrew Catalon, he's a great announcer. He really, puts the excitement in the game. Although you mentioned Steve Tasker, I gotta ask, are you part of the crew that do you think Steve Tasker should be in the Hall of Fame?
Like for his special teams ability, I think he should be
Yeah, I agree.
in and because he's on the Bills Wall of Fame too. So I
Yeah.
think I think that that's a good part for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's hopefully he'll get in one day, right? Hopefully he'll get in. But I got one more question for you. What do you think of the Bills this season? Do you think that it's a Super Bowl or bust, or what do you think? Do you think that they'll be what do you think they'll do this season when it comes? Do you think they'll finish on top at number one, or do you think they might come up a little bit short?
Like I feel that the Bills could make the AFC East championship game and then um like they would make the Super Bowl and I think it would be like my early prediction is Buffalo Philly.
Buffalo Bills, that's a good one. I can see that easily. Philly's got a good team. Buffalo's got a good team. Buffalo, they've been kind of just on the outside of the Super Bowl for a little bit now, and now I feel like this could be the year where they finally put it all together. They've went through the ups and downs. Last year was a very hard year for a lot of them. Whether it was DeMar's incident or the snowstorms up in Buffalo, anything. Right, it was a tough year for them. So I think that they'll have a good year too. I I want to say they'll go to the Super Bowl. We'll see. We'll see, obviously, but I think they got the talent to do it. Do you agree with me on that? Do you think they got the talent to go there?
Yeah, they got the talent to go far this year.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions that I had for you. Do you have any more for me, or got one more? Or no.
Um for the Monday night football game, uh when the Bills face the Jets, what is your score prediction for the game?
Score prediction. That's a tough one. Let me think for a second on that. I don't know. That's a tough one because you think I could see it going a lot of different ways. I think I'll go with my official prediction. I will go with Bills will win, and I'll go with the score 31 to 23. I think it will be a good game. I think it'll be kind of close. So I'll go with 31-23 Bills and Josh Allen, 3 touchdown passes in that game. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with like the Bills winning 24-21
Oh, real close one.
and I think tomorrow make like four tackles in that game.
Oh, that'd be good. I hope hopefully they're tackle for loss. Hopefully he can get one on Aaron Rodgers. Get after Aaron Rodgers a little bit, right? Send him on a blitz or something. But yeah, that's good. I think it'll be a close game too. I think it will be a good game. And all we hope, right, is that everybody stays healthy. Nobody needs injuries in that game. So yeah, that's a good prediction. 24-21. It's a good one.
Do you have anything to add before we wrap this up?
Uh, Not much. Just obviously, thanks for having me on. It was fun. It's always fun to talk sports with anybody, and you're pretty fun to talk sports with. So it was a fun time. Thanks for having me on. Um, if anybody does want to, they if you ever reach out to anybody else, I suggest to anybody listening, it's fun to hop on here. So hop on. And it's a good one, and I absolutely love the name of it too. By the way, Let's Talk 716 Sports. It's a good one. So yeah, not much. Just thanks for having me on, and let's have a good season, right? Let's have a good season. Hopefully, it's fun to watch, and hopefully everybody stays healthy. So that's all I got. But yeah.
Um, like, where could my listeners or viewers find your content?
Yeah, so you can find it either on my Twitter, which is at Shoop Ben, SHOOP is the last name, at Built in Buffalo too. They're, Built in Buffalo. I do a lot of stuff with them. They're I do a podcast, like as you mentioned earlier in the show, I do with them, called Buffalo Sports Banter. And then I'll also be doing a live show every Wednesday, starting this Wednesday actually. So it's gonna be the first one. So if anybody wants to hop in and comment and stuff in the comments there, we'll be happy to read your questions or just talk sports with everybody. So that one every Wednesday night. You can find that link at the Built in Buffalo YouTube page, called Off the Edge. So there's where you can find me. But yeah, so if you ever want to find my content, that's where it is.
It was fun to have a different Bills fan slash content creator on the show with me.
Thanks for having me on.
Um, thank you for tuning into this episode of Let's Talk Someone Say Sports. Thank you to my guest Ben, and go Bills.